Welcome back to another edition of the 3B podcast. And we have three people back on screen yet again this week. The original crew of the 3B podcast back together for the first time in a long time, thanks to Mr. Seth Johnson himself. And obviously Marvin Dickens making an appearance again as a full-time host here, right? I guess.
I'm so happy the mayor of Huntington could carve out a little bit of time out of his busy day to jump on a podcast with us.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. He was waiting, right? We're going to get to this in a second. He was waiting for a good reason to come back, and I can tell you exactly why it was. But before we get to that, thank you for tuning in via video or audio. Our sponsors, Don't Sleep Energy. Check them out in Phenom Elite. Definitely some good training gear there. They've got some guys that they've now helped wear gear to get into the NFL after this weekend, and some good guys in the college ranks coming up as well. So we were with you from the first kick to the last pitch, and also thanks to Ben James for playing in the Pick'em this week. We'll get to those in just a second, but before we do, Marv, another update on the kids' baseball teams. How are we doing?
So I sent you guys a video. My youngest son hit his first legit travel ball home run. He's 8, so it wasn't over the fence, but it wasn't like 7 airs in a row. He hit the ball to the fence, and he's pretty quick, so he rounded it out. And yeah, that's the update, man. That's pretty cool.
Nice. Maybe we'll, with your permission, obviously, put that up on socials later. Blur out any kids' faces that aren't your kids or something. I don't want to get any trouble here.
Yeah. I'm sure that every kid that was there signed a consent form, but probably not for us, for somebody else.
That's true. Well, I mean, it's a live barn feed, right? Is that what the?
It's an app called Game Changer.
Game Changer. Okay.
You can stream it so that grandparents and aunts and uncles and people across the world can spend their Saturdays watching kids baseball.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a great clip to have. Does it automatically clip stuff, or you guys got to go back in and?
Yeah, so as it's running video, whoever's running Game Changer for your team, it goes off of what they're putting into it. So it's a pretty simple interface app, or you put the lineup in there, it tells you who's up to bat, you assign it balls and strikes, then ball and play, and based off of the data, it clips to the moment in time that was on the camera, and pretty cool.
Nice, very nice. Seth, is Jay still playing some ball right now, or is that over already, or what?
A little bit of a long story, but we're really just now getting started. There's a lot going on at the Johnson homestead right now. I think I've told y'all. I am now a goat farmer, along with a chicken herder.
Don't tell George the Southern fan. Right, you're feeding into what they always want to talk about.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
That's awesome, though, man. That's a lot of fun stuff going on. A lot of busy times in everybody's lives. Is literally, as everybody continues to thaw out from winter, it feels like every weekend's packed with kids' activities. It's packed with baseball. We've got NHL, NBA playoffs. The draft just happened. I mean, like, just
the NBA weeks in the start.
Yeah.
Hey, Seth, I got one quick question. So you got chicken, you got chickens, you got goats. Does Tanis make her own sourdough bread?
No, we actually don't eat the chicken eggs. It's Jace is a little entrepreneur, and he sells all the eggs. So
I thought you were one step away from homesteading, my friend.
There we go. If the apocalypse comes, I'm coming to your house, Seth.
Don't get me started about the government.
On to the next topic. But tonight's show is one that we're taking a lot of pride in, because our favorite team, the App State Mountaineers, App is back, baby. They are challenging for one of the top spots in sunbelt baseball, a day that some people didn't think would come so early, but here they are, right? I mean, maybe not the best start to a season, but it wasn't a bad one. It's put them into this possible position. We know they got swept, but as we talked about, I think all three of us were still on at the time when that one happened. All of those games were close. All of those games were manageable wins. They just couldn't close it out down the stretch. They also played Southern Miss fairly well. They did get one in that series, but now those two teams are tied for second place in the Sun Belt as it stands today. So, a couple of us came repping today. Thanks, Seth, for my sweet thing here. All right, so let's get into everybody's favorite topic, everybody's favorite talking point, the weekly series picks. Ben chiming in early saying, honestly, did better than he thought he was going to do.
Hey, because he tied for the lead, he gets to stick around, right? That's the rule.
Yeah, or we can change it. Some people haven't clamored to actually stay when they could have. I don't mind changing it every week. I think that's kind of fun, and it allows us to fit more people in. So I think we might stick with just changing it up every week, because I've got some other people in mind that have either wanted to play or I want them to play.
Okay.
So if you're also one of those out there who's watched the show or watching the show currently or interacted with us on social media, either send me a reminder if it's somebody that I've missed and haven't gotten to play yet, or reach out for the first time, because we'd love to have different people play this. It gets yourself and maybe your socials exposure a little bit to some extent. And obviously, the biggest point of this is that it's just really fun to play with each other. Pause. I didn't. That's not. Don't fix that phrase out of context.
This is why Seth doesn't like to be on the podcast.
But okay, let's get to that point. Perfect segue. Seth, hey man, you came out tied with me with the lead. We both went 4-3 overall. And again, shout out to Ben. He also went 4-3. The tiebreaker would be the overall record, which Seth and I both ended up with 18-3. That's pretty dang good, man. Only 3 losses all weekend. And Ben then just behind us at 17-4. Marv only gets 3 of 4 series correct, but actually also ends with the 17-4 overall record. Funny how that works out, right?
I should have grown a set and went for some of those sweeps.
Yeah. Did you think about it with App?
I did. Man, I'm not going to lie. App State grad, booster, love everything about App. I've undervalued them, especially towards the beginning of the season, or maybe the middle. Was like, man, they're just not that good, right? And then every series that comes up, I'm like, they'll lose one, but we've swept our last 2. So I'm going to keep picking them not to sweep series, and hopefully it plays out in our favor.
Yeah. Seth.
Marv, you should have copied my picks, because you copied all my power rankings as well. So.
Yeah, it's funny how I set mine in, and 8 minutes later you send in the exact same order.
What's funny is, and we said this when we posted it out, the 1 through 3 was the exact same for all 3 of us. We'll get to that. Actually, we'll save that. That's a power rankings conversation. Seth, you did go and you picked the sweep for App, which, if you'd picked 2 or 3 sweeps, I would have just said he was just throwing stuff to see if it stuck. What made you think App would sweep the weekend here?
Piggybacking off what you started with, I think, I go to a lot of the baseball games. It was hard to watch. App's kind of weathered the storm, I guess, if you would say. Like, to be honest with you, there was 2 out of 3 they should have took from Coastal. Going into the 6th and 7th, I think there was a lead each game, and the bullpen just kind of imploded. Could have easily took 2 or 3 from Southern Miss. So, if you think about it, you did weather the storm just a little bit. Let's be honest, like, it's going to be hard to catch Coastal. So we're trying, we're playing for that number 2 right now. And I think it goes all the way back to JMU last weekend, and coming off a sweep there, and then the way they played. Mark, we were talking about before we went on. Mark was talking about ETSU's a heck of a ball team, and they've swept. They've took both games from ETSU, and then Georgia Southern can barely even, they can't do a lot. So with a hot ball team, and App's finally got Cam Miller, probably one of the best hitters in the in the league, not the country, if not the country. I mean, they just clobbered all weekend. They just hit the ball, and we're talking about, kind of what they have left, and they got a big one tomorrow with Wake. But right now, this is a hot baseball team, especially, Friday night starter Dorito. He can go 7, way into the 7th inning, and doesn't put as much pressure on the bullpen. But this is a very good, a hot baseball team right now.
Absolutely. Is 7 wins, the best by far in the league at this moment. Nobody else is even close. The closest is 2 in a row. So App, the hottest team in the league, both statistically and when you really look at the standings right now with where they've gotten to. Ben said he was just throwing a curveball with ULM and how tough they played A-State, and with the JMU.
Obviously, nobody saw what JMU was going to do after playing not great ball. We were just talking about them.
Did they sweep?
They didn't sweep, but they won the series.
2-1.
Yeah, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. ULM had been playing pretty well. JMU just couldn't seem to do anything right there for a little while, right? And nobody picked it. Nobody picked JMU to even win. Not only did they not get the series perfectly correct, nobody thought they would win it at all. The other one that went a different way than a lot of people saw, gave Seth the comeback here to get back at the 4 series victories, is the Cajuns over A-State 2-1. Everybody else had that flipped, going 2 with the Red Wolves. I know Ben obviously had that one flipped. Actually surprised Ben didn't take a chance on a sweep for the Red Wolves in that one. But Seth, what made you pick the Cajuns with how they've been playing and how A-State had looked for, the vast majority of the season, I guess?
I had to throw some curveballs to try to get back into these rankings.
That's okay because it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fine. The other one that Seth and I really thought that it was a chance for South Alabama to take it versus Southern Miss. Southern Miss had looked a little shaky as of late, and I thought South Alabama hasn't been this most consistent throughout the season, but they have had really good showings. They did not take this one. The Southern Miss Golden Eagles take it 2-1, and Seth and I had that flip the opposite direction there. But
I got a question.
Everybody called Coastal over Texas State. I was surprised no one took Coastal in a sweep. Anybody think about taking Coastal in a sweep?
No.
I didn't take any sweeps this week. I mean,
that's true.
We always say it. It's so hard to get a sweep, especially this deep in the conference, and when you have matchups like this. I mean, listen, you got 6 teams that are battling just trying to make the tournament. You've got everybody else battling trying to catch Coastal. Yeah, I didn't see any sweeps coming. Glad App got one, but didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, it was the only one of the weekend. We'll get into that in just a second, but let's jump into the power rankings. And once again, this is going to move pretty greatly, I think. Maybe not a ton. I mean, Coastal's going to stay at top. Southern Miss is going to stay too, I would assume. After that is where the changes likely come. I mean, are you guys, again, there's some games to play, so we don't know exactly what's going to play out, but are you guys leaning towards App being 3 at this point? Or are you still saying the overall resume is not going to get them quite that high?
I think top 5. Let's play some caliber teams this week and see how it goes. Wake and then Troy this weekend. I think we could have a different conversation next Monday, but I think let's leave them. Let's move them in the top 5, but let's not jump off that cliff just yet.
Yeah, I think you could take 3, 4, 5, and 6 right now, shuffle them, and however it ended up, you just have to live with it and be like, oh, that's pretty fair. But to Seth's point, I think App and Troy are 4 and 5 probably going into this weekend, and whoever wins that series takes a step forward. Whoever loses it takes a step back. That's a sneaky big series for both teams.
Absolutely is. And you're right. I think that's going to be, obviously we won't know that when the next power rankings come out because they come out before the weekend. But Troy has a test that we're going to talk about here shortly as well.
Who does Southern – I know you probably don't have this near you, Don, but I'm just curious how they finished the year here.
Who, Georgia Southern?
No, I'm sorry, Southern Miss.
Southern Miss, I'll tell you right now. Southern Miss – all right.
Well, as you get that, Artie Katz saying, hey.
They're their series or out of conference? Or both?
Conference.
ULM at home, at JMU, Georgia Southern at home. Yeah.
So App really, really needs to take at least 2 or 3 this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, App's got Troy at Troy, then Louisiana at home, and then away at Georgia State. So these next two series are massive.
Yes, they are. Artie Cat was chiming in saying, hey, y'all, and he said they really needed, Texas State really needed 2 wins versus Coastal Carolina. They got the 1 on Sunday to avoid the sweep. But, yeah, they would have taken a little bit of a step up had they been able to beat Coastal twice, I would say, in this poll. I think everyone on the right side kind of belongs on the right side. I don't see anybody coming over to the left of the top 7. Do you?
Man, you can make an argument that the Cajuns probably jump to 8. Spoiler alert, that's probably where they'll be in my rankings. But yeah, I don't think they make it. I think the left side stays the same, just 3 through 6 probably gets a little shuffled.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yep.
I'm a little new to this game. I hadn't followed as much baseball as I wanted to this year, but just based off some of the stuff we talk about, is Bryce Blevins pitcher of the year?
Has to be. In my opinion, I picked Marshall to win a game this weekend because when that kid's on the mound, you have a shot to win the baseball game, period. I think he's 8-2, most wins in the conference, another complete game, 7 strikeouts. He's just good, man. Not just good, like consistent. I think maybe one start was like a little rough. The other 10 starts that he's had, or 9 out of the other 10 starts he's had, you get Bryce, you get his best every time he's on the mound. He is phenomenal. I'd love to have him on the show again because he's just such a great guy to talk to. But if I had a vote, it would be my clear number 1.
I think the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that's going to possibly be there because he was stronger in the earlier part of the season, not quite as great recently, still pretty good. Andrew Herman over at Louisiana.
I remember the kid from Southern Miss. They got an absolute stud on their staff too. But I don't know, Bryce may be nostalgic. You could argue that he's doing it with less talent around him, right? Like,
true.
Is it the Colby Allen kid at Southern Miss? Is it Colby Allen?
I'm trying to look it up.
Well, quick note: Warren Bowren may be playing doubleheader at Troy. Rain's supposed to be here Saturday, so App State may be looking at some quick turnarounds in that one. Either maybe he's saying double Friday, or maybe I would actually assume, I guess it's a double Sunday. But we'll see what turns out with the weekend weather. And Ben saying he thinks this weekend A-State gets back. Chase Richter back on Friday. Okay. So we'll see what turns out there. Marv, what'd you find on what you were looking at?
I'm still looking it up. Give me
still
2
looking.
Roll on. When I find it, I will gladly interrupt anybody.
All right. Well, while you do that, I think it's a good time to bring up the standings and how they look at this point. Yeah, go ahead.
Graydon Harris.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
great.
He throws Friday, right?
I thought he was their Saturday guy. I could be wrong. There's only 42 weekend guys you have to keep up with in this league.
Well, Graydon should be easy. He's an alumni of the show, so
yeah, no, he's phenomenal.
Absolutely is. Oh, I messed up one of the standings over there. Just a little ugly looking, but it's still correct, so that's good. Here are the conference standings. It goes Coastal, Southern Miss, App State, technically both tied right there, the black and gold team, so it's easy to remember that, 13-8, both of them. Troy right behind them, South Alabama by themselves. Then we have a 5-way tie after that. Texas State, A-State, ULM, Georgia State, and Marshall, all at 10 and 11 in conference play. Cajuns and ODU tied at 9 and 12 overall. JMU by themselves at 8 and 13, and Georgia Southern still rounding out the bottom of the list at 5 and 16. The bad just gets worse for them. This is the first time App State has ever swept Georgia Southern in a baseball series, if you can believe it. So that's not going to make the people down there in Statesboro too happy.
Let's say App comes out with they finish second, right? And let's say Coastal wins the conference tournament. Do you take a third-ranked Southern Miss over a number 2 App?
My question to that would be, does App play Coastal in the championship game?
Good point.
I would say yes, because Southern Miss has been ranked so long. They've got 5 extra wins right now. What does a win-loss total look like at the end, right?
Right.
We always talk about kind of the magic number, right? Like, what's the magic number of wins that you have to get to? I think everybody says more than 35. It's probably the number that you need to be at.
Yeah.
Obviously, Coastal and Southern Miss with 10 games left, probably, and the conference tournament, probably easily there. App's got to keep winning, right? In my opinion, App's got to win all their midweeks, including Wake, win all 3 of their next series, and make it all the way to the final.
Yeah, I would think that's
Don't worry about where you're at in the standings. Just win.
Just win.
True. 'Tis a good point. I was trying to see if I could bring up RPI by conference so that we could look at all that without having to grab each one individually. But I don't
Midweek
know.
should be over after this week too, I think.
For a lot of schools, it is. I had RPI pulled up a second ago, so obviously Southern Miss has a RPI 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not leaving them out of nothing.
No, Coastal's at 14. Let's see.
I was going to say, where is App at? Because that's going to be really
App's at
dependent
102.
too.
App's at 102.
App's not won the games they should win.
Yeah,
as in regards to RPI.
Louisiana's at 45. Arkansas State's at 51. It's like Troy's at 62. So that's big for App, right? You got Louisiana and Troy on your schedule. You win both of those, and you're beating teams that are 50 points higher in RPI than you. That's got to move you up. And then they got to make some noise in the tournament.
One thing that was noticeable was App State losing twice to Western Carolina. Here's the good news there. It's going to help drive their RPI up just playing those games because Western is actually the SoCon leader. So in RPI at the very least, I don't know exactly where they fall in the standings as of yet, but I do think Wofford fell off. So Western may be on top of Wofford in the standings as well. So even though they've gotten beaten up by the
conference.
What was that?
I was able to sort it by conference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so nice. Southern Miss at 5, Coastal at 14, Texas State at 42, Louisiana at 45, Arkansas State at 51, Troy at 62, South Alabama 87, App at 102, Georgia State 118, ODU 134, ULM 136, JMU 153, Marshall at 157. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And the one that does make a ton of sense is Georgia Southern at 222.
Ooh.
And that's probably why App did not move up because congratulations, you swept one of the worst RPI teams in the country.
Yeah, well, and that shows you exactly why it's important to sweep that series too, right? Because had you lost even one game, you could say you win the series 2-1, it's going to drop you in the RPI by losing one of those games. So it was that they did what was necessary for them to stay where they were at the very least and not get harmed by having to play one of those games. So be interesting to see how it plays out. A lot to still happen here in this one. Just to take a look at the snapshot again, App the only team that swept, and they did so against Georgia Southern as we talk about that. Let's see. I think we're going to go to rounding out the rewind of the week. So started off here on Tuesday, JMU in-state loss to George Mason. UNCW took out Coastal in the I think it was the bottom of the ninth walk-off. One loss for Coastal in that one, right? Am I correct, Marv, in that one?
Yep, it was, yeah.
Marv's childhood favorite team gets the massive victory over ODU, 19-8. Yeah. Did you didn't go to the game during the week against ETSU and App, did you, Seth?
Yeah, I've got something to add to that too. Boy, you guys thought parking was bad last year. Let me just tell you.
Oh God.
Yeah. So if you don't get, you can't park up top. You can't park at the actual stadium anymore unless you have a pass. So then you have to park in Greenwood lot, which during the week is full of students. So if you can't park there, you have to park at the stadium, football stadium lot, and then get bussed all the way from the stadium to the baseball stadium. It's an absolute nightmare.
Jeez. Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
Seth, man, you know enough people. You can get you one of those passes if you really want it.
Buddy, I've got one now. Don't you worry.
I never doubted it.
Made a couple calls.
I'm kind of surprised it took you that long to get one.
Yeah. Ben saying A-State baseball parking is free. Hey, Ben, if your team continues to do well, that won't continue. Just like Coastal Carolina has seen for football, once it became the big thing, it ain't free no more. It ain't cheap. It comes with success. So just get ready for that if it were to happen. Texas State gets the win over in-state Incarnate Word. Southern Miss squeaks by Tulane. They'll rematch again this week. Cajuns got by Grambling. what the hell happened? Arkansas State scores 20 runs against Central Arkansas, who they beat 20-10. Are we playing football over here, fellas? Like what? What went down in this one?
Not a lot of good pitching or defense.
Weak pitching.
Yeah. As Ben said, 45-minute bottom of the fourth. I think A-State hit the whole rotation at least once, maybe almost 2 times through.
45 minutes. Yeah, you probably put 15 guys at the plate and made them go through 3 pitchers.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a rough outing. Not great for A-State to allow 10 runs either, but when you're putting up 20, I guess it really doesn't matter in that point. He said 16 runs in the bottom of the fourth on just 10 hits.
Wow. Lots of
Crazy.
walks, lots of errors.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, Jacksonville State gets the best of in-state opponent Troy, 5-4. Again, these are the kind of games that matter quite a bit to the RPI of the entire conference. So as much as we all love to hate each other inside here on the weekend stuff, we have to be kind of rooting for each other outside of it because that's how we garner all the respect, right? Just had a interaction on X the other day, and gosh, I'm going blank on his name. The big guy who does the D1 baseball stuff, the biggest name there, Kendall Rogers. There it is. Had posted something about how the sunbelt, is an RPI problem and everything. I alluded to the fact like, hey, SEC gets to play each other and beat each other up and they don't get harmed for it. But we're getting kind of hurt by it, unfortunately. And then a Georgia Southern fan chimed in and said, yeah, but that's not how RPI works. Well, no, it doesn't work that way because you have the outside of things. I'm just giving an explanation on why we're getting harmed by playing lower ranked RPI teams within our own conference. So it's not a perfect system. RPI is not the best option. Well, I guess it probably is the best option. I don't know. I don't love it though, because I feel like you got standings and then RPI seems to be weighted almost more so than that, right?
Yeah, I think the eyeball test should always win out, but people love analytics and they want the computer to do the thinking for them. I think it does have some weight to it, but man, we saw it a couple of years ago, right? JMU gets in with in my opinion, not a great resume, but they had beat. But they had beat the number 5 ranked team in the country one time in a series, and their RPI skyrocketed from the beginning and never really came down that much.
I thought they beat them twice. Wasn't that series 4 games and it was 2-2?
They beat them one time out of a 4-game series.
Oh, okay.
On the road, give them credit for that.
Opening series of the year, right?
Yeah, and I think they swept App that year too, so I can't talk too much crap. But honestly, their resume wasn't that fantastic, and because the RPI was great, they got the nod.
Yeah. Well, and that's going to be the harm, right? Like Seth said at the top, right? You could have Southern Miss not finish 1 or 2 in the conference tournament, maybe even Coastal, but their RPI is high enough and they're ranked nationally, they're going to get in. So then you're saying, well, why didn't you take the second best team from the Sunbelt Conference, which ends up being whatever, the 3rd or 4th best conference in baseball this year, right? Like, I mean, the argument could be there, but then you're going to say, well, their RPI is not good. Well, It's like, that's the determining factor then? Not taking a team who was hot near the end of the year like you do in college basketball? Like, RPI matters in college basketball. Quad wins do matter in college basketball, but oftentimes they're leaning towards the teams that are hottest towards the end part of the season. Do you not want the hottest and best teams playing in your biggest moneymaker, which is your tournament at the end of the year?
You want the teams that bring the most eyeballs.
That's true. And unfortunately, they're still going to look at the Sunbelt as small, mid-major, which is not true.
You know what would fix that problem?
Winning a College World Series?
Taking 2 or 3 from LSU. We wouldn't this conversation would not be had again for another 10 years.
I think it would, though. I think for this year it wouldn't be, but they'd be like, oh, well, that was just it's baseball, right? That was just a fluky series or whatever it is. Coastal was really good that year.
See what you did there.
I do too. I'm not even sure if you knew.
Not intentional. But no, I think as long as, listen, like there's bias in football, right? It's all SEC, Big Ten. It's all ACC, SEC in baseball. And outside of that, we know there's great baseball being played in other places. We're sitting here talking about it every week, right? but across it's like we talked about the other day, Dom. Marshall goes and beats Ohio State in baseball. And people are going to see that and be like, oh, my God, I can't believe Ohio State lost to Marshall. Guess what? In baseball, Marshall's a better team.
Yep.
People don't know that just because the stigma of football, they see that, they're like, oh, they're supposed to be good.
Right. Exactly. Which makes this next score kind of surprising. Morehead State beats Marshall, not only beats them, actually beats them at home, unfortunately, for Marshall. So they didn't just squeak by either. 11-2, the final in that one. So that's a little bit of a surprising score. Not so surprising. Citadel takes down Georgia Southern 10-3. South Alabama takes it to Lamar, though, 6-1 to at least cap the night with a victory for the Sunbelt on Wednesday. So I would say maybe like average or below average week overall for the Sunbelt. I mean, nothing great in the midweek, right, guys?
No, actually, the midweek was pretty bad. We're just being honest. I mean,
yeah,
Coastal lost, Troy lost. Anytime the Citadel beats Georgia Southern.
ETSU is a good ball team. I really do.
Who?
ETSU.
Yeah. ETSU is a really good ball team. Citadel's not a bad baseball team either. Nope. Just being honest.
I think App had a couple chances with Western. That one of those, a win out of one out of the two of those would have helped RPI. Western's a good ball team.
It won the second game. Western absolutely beat the crap out of them in the second game.
No, App didn't win.
No, we lost both. I don't know if the first one was close or not, but the second one was it wasn't
close.
good.
Yeah, it
was honestly, App has played lights out baseball since that game.
Tomorrow will be a big test for App.
Big time.
Definitely will. All right, let's get to the weekend series here. It starts off, I would say, mostly expected outcomes to start it off. Maybe the surprising one. I don't know if you want to say that because of what Marv talked about with Blevins. 7-4, Marshall over Troy. But Marshall's playing at home. I don't know. Was that much of a surprising outcome to either of you?
Not with Bryce on the mound. No. You could put Bryce on the mound against UCLA, and I'd say, hey, they're going to have a chance.
Nice.
I think the surprise to me was JMU, who had probably lost 7 games in a row, going down to Monroe and winning 11-3.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, 11-3. It's not like they got the 4-3 victory and you're like, okay, well, anything can kind of happen in baseball. We'll see what happens. 11-3, pretty crazy outcome. Seth, you said you did go to the 16-3 game between App and Georgia Southern on Friday?
No, I did not, but Cam Miller with a big night, 3 home runs. App went for the 2-point conversion late. And no, they got a safety. I'm sorry. And big week. Again, regarding App, just the bats come alive all weekend.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
50-hit series against JMU. They definitely kept it going Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night they went 11-5 on Saturday. Georgia State evens it up with ODU after they dropped that first one, 10-4, kind of a known thing there. Troy gets the best of Marshall on the second one, 8-2 there in that one. And then the Cajuns go off. Southern Miss scored a lot of runs. Coastal squeaked by Texas State in that second game, just 2-1 there to take a 2-0 lead. And then ULM did even it up with JMU. We'll go to the end thing, and I've got I think I've got some notes here that I have from this thing. So Coastal scoring Texas State's offense, popped off all weekend, scoring 19 runs and then 2 wins and losses combined, but Coastal's depth proved to be decisive and, get that victory overall. Southern Miss and South Alabama, South Alabama came back, got that 4-3 victory in that finale, excuse me, it's easy for me to say, to stay within striking distance near the top of the conference. So it was an important victory for South Alabama and a bad loss for Southern Miss because they could have been sitting alone in second place had they beat that one, no matter what App State did. App State outscored Georgia Southern 23-10 if you include all 3 games for the weekend, which was kind of crazy. The Trojans limited Marshall to just 5 hits on Sunday, showcasing their ability to still win tight, low-scoring games within the conference, because some of those low-scoring games outside of the conference haven't quite gone their way. The Panthers scored 5 runs in the 9th inning to force extras before walking it off in the 10th salvaging the series against ODU in that one. And then Ben James, Arkansas State Red Wolves went down 2-1 to the Cajuns.
They avoided the sweep on Sunday, though.
They did, yeah. They did commit 3 errors in the finale there. Or I'm sorry, 3 errors in the finale, but still got it done. James Madison, 9 for 13 with 3 home runs from Ike Schmidtley, I think is what we have there. So, yeah, it's pretty good weekend for a couple guys. Some struggles there for some of the other ones. Guys, any last notes before we move on to what we're going to see in the midweeks this week for the Sunbelt?
No, just is there anything up there besides JMU and ULM that just completely shocks everybody?
Shocks? No. I did think Marshall would stand a chance to actually flip that series and maybe A-State flipping the Cajuns. It doesn't blow me away that either one of those went the other direction, I guess. All right.
I'm good.
We have a fully loaded slate on Tuesday within the Sun Belt. 13 of our 14 teams play on Tuesday. Check out that first one on the top left. Troy at number 5, Georgia. So, look, the midweek slate didn't go how we wanted to last week, and we also didn't get a lot of shots at some really good teams. Not the case this week. We've got a lot of shots at a lot of good teams. App goes against Wake Forest. Wake Forest has kind of been toying with top 25 potential. We know Coastal has beaten them 2 out of 3 times this season. Wake got the best of the last one. Southern Miss going up against Tulane. They just had a close game last week. Coastal Carolina, UNC, number 9 versus number 2, a top 10 matchup nationally. Syndicate will be there in person. I'm going to take my son to that game. Probably not stay the whole time. Doesn't start till 7 p.m. Eastern time. But, boys, which one is the tops to you? And maybe which one, if it's the same or maybe could be different, which one do you think could be the best chance for an upset? Marv, let's start with you.
Best chance for an upset. I'm going to go App at Wake just because it's not actually in Winston. It's in Hickory and Shelby, sorry. So there's no home field advantage per se. I actually would think App would have the home field advantage there. And like we talked about with the RPI discussion, if they're hot coming in, you can't say a midweek game is do or die, right? But if you're going to bring RPI into the equation, it's a pretty darn important baseball game.
That's very true. So do you think that's the biggest one too, or do you think that's just the biggest upset? You got a different one that's big. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
You can't write Coastal off in any game, right? They're a top 10 team going on the road on a top 10 team midweek, right? You're not going to get anybody's ace, right? So, but Carolina's number 2 for a reason.
Yeah. Seth, what are your thoughts on what we're seeing here?
A win's a win. In a game like this, you want to win, but it's not, with a number 9, number 2, it's not the end of the world,
Right.
A loss one way or another. It's a fun game to go to. That's a big time game. Is this game going to, affect whether one team makes the tournament or not? Absolutely not. With toying around with number 9, that could, a win for Coastal could determine whether they're in the top 8 to host a super regional eventually. But I'm kind of biased. I'm with Marv. I think App was up 3-0, 4-0 against Wake when Wake came to Boone. Midweek's kind of a crapshoot though. You're throwing multiple arms out there just to see what happens. So, but I think this has kind of been an App show, but in regards to App, I think a win, not necessarily, it won't do anything for conference standings, but I think, if it comes down to here in a couple of weeks where it's close, I think that win on the resume would go a long way.
Yeah. I wonder if you're coaching App, right? And you're like, okay, we got to make a push. Do you treat this game differently with your staff?
I do.
Knowing that you got Troy, you got to go to Troy this weekend, or do you just say?
I think Kermit Smith's very much day by day, and I think he you roll with what has got you here. No, I think no. Tomorrow's game is minimal compared to winning these conference games and making a push. I
mean,
think, my own opinion.
It's a good point. I mean, like we said, they got Troy and Louisiana, a team that's in the 50s and the team that's in the 60s in RPI coming up in a 3-game series. But Wake Forest has got in the 20s RPI, so that would definitely help. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
it's so. One more, before I forget, Dom, because I'm I'm not as old as y'all, but I forget things. Baseball's such a long season. You sit there and you watch. App should have took 2 or 3 from Coastal. Let's be honest. And you're like, shit, they just got swept. This is early in conference. You're like, it's gonna be a long year. And now looking back on it, you're like, what if App had took 1 from Coastal?
Yeah.
Or 2. And then they would have stole another game from Southern Miss, which they should have done. It's a lot of what ifs in baseball.
And you'd also have to ask this: if they had beaten Coastal twice, Coastal wouldn't be anywhere near number 9 like they are now. They would have lost a lot of respect early in the season.
Neither would have App.
Right. And so that bump would have lasted for only so long with the win, possible wins over Coastal Carolina. But yeah, it's crazy to think like what some small change, like you said, Seth, something at the beginning of the season twisted, and you'd be looking at something vastly different in the end. Here's the interesting take too. If App or Troy or both decide to go for it, right? You got Troy playing number 5 Georgia on the road, App playing what do you call it? Neutral site game. There we go. So those obviously get weighted a little bit differently in the RPI, but you're both playing a team that would help your RPI jump up greatly with a victory. You're gonna get rewarded for playing the game in general, but do both of these teams go for it knowing they're going to play each other, or do both of these teams rest knowing how important the weekend set is? I'm not saying they do or don't, Seth. I'm just saying like those are the interesting aspects of like all the little chess pieces that could be moved in this.
I think Marv knows this as much as I do. Baseball is baseball players are creature of habit.
True.
If you're used to throwing on Friday or Saturday and you turn around and you throw on Wednesday, what does that do to you the rest of the year?
That's why the tournament's so weird, right? Like you got your Friday, Saturday, Sunday guy, and now you're looking at your Friday guy on a Wednesday night and be like, all right, dude, just treat it like a Friday. It's like, it's not. It's not even nighttime. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. What are we doing here?
Yeah. Very, very interesting. But yeah, I think it's a clear, top 10 matchup in the country, Coastal at Carolina. Here's the nice part about that too. This is not a random game. Okay. They play this game at least the last 3 or 4 years in a row here. So this is not a place that a lot of these guys at Coastal are going to come into and like, oh, wow, big stadium, big crowd. How do we play? I mean, obviously they did it, they went through the whole tournament last year. So this isn't going to be some raucous, crazy atmosphere. It's a nice field, but one that they've been to, they have spent time at before. So, this is not as shocking if they come out with the victory over Carolina because they've done it a few times. They've also played them a few times very close, even when they haven't been victorious. So great game. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot of that one in person tomorrow. It's supposed to rain early here in Chapel Hill, but be done well enough before starting pitch time there. So that one probably takes the cake as tops for Tuesday. Hard to beat. Wednesday slate, much smaller, but we've got some interesting matchups. Marshall and Ohio. That is a long-running traditional rivalry that obviously doesn't exist as strongly now that the Herd and the Bobcats are in separate conferences, but they once were together. Georgia Southern and Mercer, an old SoCon foe facing a newer SoCon team there in Mercer. The nickel team that has given a couple of our teams fits plays the Cajuns. Georgia State, Alcorn, and South Alabama. I guess another team that's given the Sunbelt some fits in the New Orleans Privateers. Seth, let's start with you this time. Is there, one, I guess, is there a big matchup at all? And 2, is there one that you'd circle as the biggest if there was?
Not really. If you want my 2 cents, I'm just sitting here thinking about, being on here with you guys reminds me, I truly enjoy baseball season, but man, this just passes the time till football season. It really does. But no, Sunbelt's great for baseball. No, not really. don't really care about any of that, to be straightforward with you. Georgia Southern is one of the worst teams in the nation. No, I really don't know.
All right, Marv, that's good. It's cool. It's fun. That's fine. I mean, I don't think I have one that's like crazy to circle over the others. I don't know maybe if Marv does or not.
Nickel State versus the Cajuns. That would be if you said, hey, you've got to watch one game. You can only pick one on a Wednesday night in the Sun Belt. What would it be? I'm taking Nickel State. Yeah, Artie's right. That New Orleans. I'm not 100% sure what that mascot is. I mean, it's obviously meant to be a pirate, but it kind of also doesn't look like a pirate.
Yeah, the privateers, and I think we had that discussion last time. Like, it looks kind of like horns coming after. I think it's supposed to be his collar, I believe. Like,
is it maybe like bird wings shooting out the side? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I like I said, maybe I don't know. Like a captain. It just looks like an evil villain's like collar kind of thing, but I don't know.
It's like one of those ghosts that you would see in like an old Scooby-Doo TV show.
It does. I'd said Pirates of the Caribbean, but the Scooby-Doo villain actually fits really well with that because it does have that kind of cartoony look to it. I do like it. Like, I think it's kind of cool, but it doesn't tell people what you are exactly. Like, that's a lot of question marks with that one. You're also saying Corpus Christi Islander Stadium is amazing. View onto the Gulf of Mexico. It's the Gulf of America. Get it right. On the island, underrated park. But yeah. That, I mean, they have a kind of a weird logo. We can jump back to that one real quick. Right there, circling it here against Texas State, the Islanders.
Oh, that was Rhode Island. That
out. Corpus Christi or Texas A&M at Corpus Christi. So it's one of those like schools that's got the longest name ever. So yeah, that's an interesting one. And I'll have to look up that stadium because I don't think I've ever seen it. But now let's get into the weekend set and decide upon what we think is going to be the series of the week. All right, here we go. Marshall at James Madison, A-State at ODU, Coastal, number 9 Coastal at Georgia Southern. Could a possible upset happen? No. App State at Troy, ULM at number 12 Southern Miss, Georgia State at the Cajuns, South Alabama at Texas State. Marv, which one is your series of the week?
Man, obviously the team that's tied for number 2 and the team that stands alone at number 3, App State at Troy, that's got to be probably has the most impact on the standings. Close second would be South Alabama, Texas State. But just looking at the standings, that's got to be the logical choice.
Yeah, I did. It'd be hard pressed to probably disagree, but let's see what Seth thinks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just sitting here thinking, and you know how baseball goes. Anything can happen any day. How bad would one loss be for Coastal over the weekend?
Whew.
True.
And how that is fault. I think, call me crazy, and I'm trying to remember who it happened to last year. Somebody lost one. I think Coastal loses one to Georgia Southern. They fall almost out of the top 25.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think they probably fall.
They're that bad.
Yeah, I think they fall 6 spots.
No, it happened.
Let me ask you this. They beat Carolina but lose one to Georgia Southern.
Interesting, yeah.
I still think a loss to Georgia Southern kills you more than a win against a number 2 team. I really. Well, we had the same discussion last year. I think somebody lost one that they shouldn't have lost and fell so far. I can't remember who it was, but I think they get penalized real hard. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see every game being a run rule, to be honest with you. But it's just fun to talk about.
Yeah, interesting because, like you said, in the RPI, they're only going to get hurt. It doesn't matter if they win every game by the run rule. They're going to take a dip in their RPI just by playing this series.
They're literally playing a team that's 200 less than them, over 200 in RPI.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, they don't have to have it or anything like that, but that shows you what a win versus Carolina could help them do, right? Because they might need that little bump before they take this inevitable fall just by playing 3 games against Georgia Southern. That's why I say that's what I don't like about the RPI aspect. They have to play this team in conference. There's no choice to it, right? They couldn't try and schedule out of this like they could with midweeks. So we're taking this RPI and we're saying, hey, they have this 3-game set that they have to play. There's nothing they can do about it, but we're going to harm them even if they win every game easily. I don't like that. And I'm not saying that just about Coastal. I'm saying in general, like the same thing in the SEC, the ACC. You have a team that's at the top and you have a team that's terrible at the bottom of your conference, and they're going to have to play each other. And again, there's nothing anybody can do about it. They have to go on the road and play these games. And you're going to say, well, it doesn't matter how impressively you win, you're going to take a hit. Well, how does that seem to make sense, right? Like, I get it. You don't like winning them shouldn't have you climb either. Okay, I'm okay with that. But we're going to have them fall because they had to play the game. Like that's the part that I have a hard time with. I'm okay with not rewarding for crushing them if that's what you want to do. Zero movement. But I don't think they should fall just because they have to play the game. I don't know. Marv, thoughts on that?
It's just like in football, right? When you're trying to have the highest ranking to get into the playoff and you got to play some crappy team in week 12. And it's like, do you rest your starters and not have a pretty enough win? It almost feels like can you win big enough to negate the fact that your opponent's not great?
Right.
I think the eye test is used in football, and it's completely forgotten baseball.
That's good because you can do that, right? Like what Marv just said is you can rest your starters. Everyone's aware. They're paying attention. There's less games to pay attention to. There's not 3-game sets. There's 1 game. And more people can tune in or be told, hey, this is what happened. This is why the game was close.
Yeah.
But if Coastal goes then wins every game 20-0 and run rules them, no one's going to pay attention to how it was done or why it was done. They're just going to say, yeah, Coastal swept. They should have, but they played a team that was in the 200 RPI, so they're going to take a hit. It's just those are the things I think that are the downside to RPI that doesn't properly take into account. So it is what it is. There's nothing we can really do about it. It's an imperfect system, but, I just had to say that because I just don't – that's the one aspect of RPI that I think is really a downside in a metric to get people somewhere. Maybe they should take our power rankings in a higher account, right?
Yeah. Call your good friends over at the NCAA.
Good friends. Where would those be? Oh, man. All right, guys. Pretty good show here. Wrapping it up. Any last news or notes before we get out of here?
Good to be with y'all.
Yeah, it's good to have you back, man. It felt like a more normal show here.
Tell Robert and Lisa to run by and get some of those eggs.
They need to bring something with them when they come. No. 50, 54, 52? Jersey.
You haven't gone up there and got it yet?
Nah, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Oh man.
Man.
That thing. All right, fellas. Thank you everyone for tuning in and enjoy the midweek games. We will see you guys next week.